All right, everybody, welcome back to the Good Old Hockey Podcast. This is episode number 65. 4 away from the big one.
60.
4 away.
Nice.
Nice. We have a fun episode for you guys today. A little bit of drama, which I feel like we've been kind of lacking of the past month or two. Like there hasn't been much drama like there has been these past couple weeks. But first things first, make sure you follow us, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But tomorrow we have the biggest game of
my
adult
career.
lives. Yeah. Adult lives. We'll say adult lives.
It's huge. It's the most important game of the hockey season. Stanley Cup Finals, whatever.
And it's essentially Game 7.
Exactly. It's Game 1 and Game 7.
Yes.
Winner take all. It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing ever.
Yep. I'm pumped. I'm trying to get some friends to come out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. But I'm nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I am nervous.
I'm pretty nervous, dude.
Yeah.
If I suck, the worst.
The lights are just too bright. It's like that Donald Trump. Turn them off. The lights. Too bright. I don't want to like cave under the pressure like Boston College.
That's funny.
But yeah, we got the Frozen 4 coming up soon too, which I frankly haven't been paying too much attention to it. So
I saw BC lost to Denver, rematch of last year's final.
Yep.
Did not watch that game. The only game I watched was UMass and Minnesota, and called an upset or called a comeback in our hockey chat, and somehow it happened. That was zero actual thought went into that. I was just like, UMass come back.
I think I was watching the Sharks game, and when you texted that, and I was about to turn the Sharks game off, which was a good game against the Leafs.
Yeah.
I was about to go watch it up in my room, and then you had mentioned the Minutemen comeback. I was like, oh, I'll tune into that game. It's towards the end of the game. Sure enough, that was a great game.
It was a fun game.
I love college hockey. I just have fallen out of it this year, mainly because we don't have any
prospects in college hockey right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess like James Higgins is one to watch, but even then, like, I don't know. I'll watch his highlights later. But, the overall fun week as a Sharks fan, I feel like we kind of had a depressing couple 48 hours.
Brutal. This is brutal. Cam Lund scored his first 2 career NHL goals, though.
That was a bright spot, yeah. That's like about the only bright spot of
everyone else looked awful.
Yeah.
Romanov looked awful.
Yep.
Georgiev always looks awful.
Yep.
It was not a fun time.
No. And
Georgiev.
What's his name? Celebrini got his car.
Oh my God.
Ramp like mind you, they had just lost 6-1 to the Rangers.
Yep.
And then the Rangers bus just happens to back into his car, his Range Rover.
Yeah. I would be rattled. Yeah. He looked like he was taking it very well. I'd be rattled.
Yeah.
Be like, really, guys? Right after a 6-1 ass whooping.
Which, funny enough, it's actually it's a city charter, I think.
Interesting.
Because New York City's not, like, their bus driver's not going to drive from New York City to... It's like a San Jose-based company that ran into Macklin Celebrini's car.
We're trying to get him to stay here, guys. Please don't start running into his car left and right.
Yeah. He'll probably... the rookies probably park there because it is a lot easier to get hit in that part of the parking lot.
They make him park there.
Yeah, they're like, all right, you're the rookie, like, you guys got to sit there.
Tyler Toffoli's in some, like, gated garage.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, like Vlasic probably has like the best spot on the team. It's like right by the door, right there. But
I've been waiting for this for 17 years. You're not taking it from me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which I get. But I thought that was funny and just kind of a depressing end. And also to lose to the Kings too, of all teams. Like
8-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Kings, they've been heating up. They look hot. But I don't know if they're playoff ready.
I don't know if they're going to beat the Oilers if they play them again.
Yeah, that's their kryptonite.
They're going to play them every single year with this playoff format.
Yep.
I'm going to complain about that every time until it changes.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them for a 4th year in a row. Let's see something interesting.
Yeah. Because I feel like we talked about this last week a little bit, but like the 1 and the 8, like wild card teams usually always are going to play each other, but I'd like to have some diversity in the other parts of the rounds, like the 2 and 3 spot. But how was your week though?
My week was great after that playoff game. We played on what was that, Sunday? Mm-hmm. So that was pretty weird.
And then we recorded, yeah.
That was the first Sunday that I played a hockey game.
It's a matinee game, too, 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Or 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Yeah.
I think that was the first game I played on a Sunday since I was like 17.
Yeah, probably.
It was kind of a weird mix-up. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it was kind of weird to play, That was also one of the first games I played where it was still light out when I left in a very long time.
Yeah.
It was just interesting.
Yeah.
It was an interesting game. Went well, though. Did we get anybody injured or suspended? I don't think so.
No, we talked about it last week. We did the...
Trying to think because just shit's happening left and right.
Yeah, I know.
I think the reffing was awful again.
Yep.
Did I get in an argument with the ref? I did because I got trucked on one of our goals. And I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I have the final say. I'm a referee. I'm like, yeah, you're a men's league referee. Your life's really gone places. And then he started saying something to me again, and I went like this, and he really didn't like that. And then gave me a penalty later in the game for tripping, apparently.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Because I tripped the guy, and he scored.
Yeah.
Tough break for the guy. Tough break for the kid. But, yeah, that was interesting. It was a good week overall, except for today. You ready for this? Yeah. I filed a police report today. So I was driving out of my neighborhood. There's this really long road that goes right next to, there's a high school right here. My neighborhood's like behind it, right? Yeah. And there's this gentleman, there's a lot of children in my neighborhood right next to a high school, and there's just a lot of kids in my neighborhood that like to play outside. This really bugged me. I was pulling out of the big long drive, make a left onto like our frontage road, and then I made a left onto the main road, U-stick. And there's this gentleman in this Lexus who whips out behind me out of my neighborhood. I was a little ways ahead of him, and he flies up on my tuchus. And I then make a left. It's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. I was probably going 35 miles an hour, kind of normal, a little bit over the speed limit, not like slow, but not super fast because, it's a school zone. It's 2:30 p.m. on a Tuesday.
And you're saying this publicly on the internet?
Yeah, whatever. And this guy is riding my ass the entire way down this road. I stop at the stoplight to make a left on the U-stick because I'm going over to the gas station, put gas in my car. And the light turns green, and I start to make a left turn, and this guy decides it's a great idea to pass me in, like, the oncoming side of traffic, mid-turn. I'm, like, halfway through the turn.
Oh, my God.
Right? In a school zone, right around the time school's getting out.
Yeah.
And then speeds off down the road in a construction zone. He was probably doing 40 and a 25,
Jesus.
Right? Because he's taking off away from me. And that really pissed me off. It bugged the heck out of me. I'm like, dude, first of all, we live in a neighborhood with a lot of kids. Second of all, you're driving in a school zone at a time of day where there are kids present, and you're flying around making reckless driving maneuvers and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That really pissed me off. So I filed a police report because I'm like, I don't want some, small child to get hit by a car. Mm-hmm. Nobody does. There are kids in our neighborhood that like to play in the middle of the street. There's a bunch of like probably 10, 11, 12-year-olds who play basketball all the time on one of the corners. They have a hoop out. Like, there's kids around all the time. I don't care if an adult gets hit, but kids, I draw the line there. So I filed a police report, and I also made a purchase because I was trying to think of a way to get back at this gentleman. Yes, I'm saying this on the internet for everybody to hear forever and ever. I ordered some stickers for his vehicle. Okay. Now, he has some stickers on his car that kind of give me an idea of the type of person that he is. Keep in mind, we live in the state of Idaho, where a lot of people move here from California. So I purchased one really big sticker that says, I heart California.
Nice.
Right?
Yep.
And then I ordered another sticker that has the California outline with like the bear on it.
Yep.
And then I ordered a sticker that says Blue Girl Red State with the Idaho outline. You keep in mind, this is a guy driving the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also ordered a 20-pack of stickers that say I'm an idiot.
Nice.
And a few of stickers that say warning reckless driver.
Wow.
So my plan is, because nothing's going to happen out of this, but my plan is I'm just going to stick some stickers on his bumper, and if he takes them off, I can replace them with other stickers.
True.
I have 20 of the I'm an idiot stickers that I can put all over his car.
This is allegedly, right?
Oh, yeah. Not allegedly. I'm going to do it.
In Mexico. You're going to do it in Mexico.
Yeah. I didn't say where I lived, all right?
True. That is true.
You don't know who I am. You don't know my full name. It's fine.
Yeah.
Either way, because I was thinking of other ways to get back at this gentleman and make him rethink his decisions. There's the classic, I have a young puppy. He poops a lot.
Yep.
I have a trash bin outside with a liner in it, right?
Yeah.
That has a bunch of his poop in it, so I don't have to walk out to the trash can or get a new bag every time.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about lighting that on fire on his porch. Might be a bad idea, right? What if his house catches on fire? I don't want to kill anybody.
Yep. Stickers are harmless.
Stickers are harmless. The other one, I have a good friend named AJ who has a truck that he's planning on taking the engine out of. And I was thinking it's a big 7.3 for those of you guys who know trucks. It's 7.3 Power Stroke, big old V8, right?
Yep.
Diesel V8. We were thinking about pulling that engine out and putting it on his doorstep, like really close to his front door. Because it's like 900 pounds. How the heck are you going to move it?
Yeah.
Might be a little overkill.
How would you guys get it there?
He has another truck. Towed it around. Engine hoist, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Get a bunch of buddies.
Yeah.
Lift it. That's like what you'd have to do to get it off of it, right?
True, yeah.
So there's that. The other one, I wanted to take one of his wheels off and put it on his doorstep, but that apparently is like, can be considered theft.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to prison.
Yeah.
So either way, we settled on stickers, so I might do that. Might not.
Allegedly
Might do that.
From anything. Yeah.
I allegedly might do it.
It's all a skit. We're joking here.
This is a skit. This never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy. Also, you've come full circle. I think it's a 25 because I think if it were, and this is an adult, I'm assuming, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy was like, he looked like he was like 40.
Okay, yeah. If it was like an 18-year-old in like a red Forester, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, he's a young kid. He'll learn, move along. But yeah, no, that's crazy. I think the stickers are the safest way to get back at anyone.
They're allegedly the safest way.
Allegedly, yeah.
I also did file a police report.
You did?
Do your duty.
Yep.
Report people who, commit crimes.
Yeah.
Like sticking stickers on random people's cars and piss them off.
Yeah. No, this is all, we're actually filming this episode in Mexico right now. So
yeah.
We are in another country. Doesn't count. But anyways, we have some juicy drama outside of that for what Alan had. But John Tortorella got fired this past week. Reportedly, it was over an incident with defenseman, right? Cam York.
Yep.
So Cam York was benched on, he got fired on the 27th. This is on the 25th against the Rangers. He was benched against the Leafs. He was benched after the first 10 minutes of the game versus the Leafs. They lost that game 7-2. So he played in the first 10 minutes and didn't see the ice ever again. Apparently, there was some heated exchange in the back after the game in wherever it happened. I don't know. This is all sources, details. So heated exchange after the game between Cam York and Tortorella. Both parties seem to be not in the right. And leading to that, Cam York was then scratched for the next game on the 27th versus the Canadiens. Tortorella was fired that same day. So clearly, I have a feeling it wasn't just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
You know how Tortorella is as a coach, not personally, but from what we see of him and his coaching style, I think is definitely an older style of coaching. Coaching that I probably got at some point, the way that he coaches his players. But I feel like nowadays it's just getting to the point where these coaches like Daryl Sutter, John Tortorella, who else? Mike Babcock, maybe even it just does not work anymore. And I think, and older people might say like, oh, this generation is just so soft, like players are getting egos, blah, blah, blah. Sure, that might be the case. But I think it's also incredibly difficult when you're losing and you're a rebuilding team and you have a coach that is yelling at everyone, benching their star future franchise player. Not just in Cam York, but in Michkov too. Yeah. He's constantly sitting out games, playing 15 minutes of ice time. And I just don't think nowadays you can get away with being a tough love coach if your team's losing. If you're winning, be the biggest dick you want. But when your team's losing and you're going to be like the players are going to get frustrated, and I don't know, it just is not working anymore. And we're seeing less and less of this type of coach.
I think it's one of those things where like it works on teams who have like an older set of players.
Yep.
It works on guys who are, you know, more adjusted to the NHL and more, you know, veterans, just older teams in general. I don't think it works when you have a bunch of players from this current generation who are, they're young. They grew up wanting to be Pavel Datsyuk, Patrick Kane. They didn't grow up wanting to be, you know, Scott Stevens, right?
Yeah.
It works when you have guys who are a little bit older and they're like, they want to play a disciplined game of hockey, right? It doesn't work when you have a bunch of guys that you kind of have to let flourish in a skill position.
Yep.
Taking away Michkov's ability to be a skill player does not make any sense.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend, Aaron Parsons, who is a big Ducks fan. Shout out his Instagram page, ducks.talk on Instagram. A lot of Anaheim Ducks updates.
Yeah.
For all 17 fans they have. No, I'm kidding. He has like 10,000 followers, but he does a good job. Either way, so there's this whole thing about Greg Cronin, their coach, being that kind of same type of coach where he's a hard ass, likes a very, very disciplined, non-skill, you know, forecheck, backcheck, paycheck kind of hockey team, which works for some teams, but it doesn't work for some players.
Yeah.
And when you have a super skilled young guy, it does not work.
Nope.
Right. That's why we've seen the insane fall off of Trevor Zegras as a, you know, skill guy. Put up like 60 points a few years ago.
Yeah. And
he's been very, very low scoring since.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge reason why is just the coaching style doesn't mesh. And when you have a talent like Matvei Michkov, you need to build your team around him and build him up as much as you can.
Yeah.
And Tort's coaching style really, I don't think, helps that. It doesn't matter if you win games when you're not good, as they are right now.
Yeah.
It's like they could lose 82 games in a season and the outcome's going to be the same as if, you know, they get 5 more wins from being a disciplined hockey team. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the best thing to happen to Philly. Yeah. Hopefully for Michkov's development and his ability to thrive as a player and all the young guys they have on that roster. They have a bunch of young guys.
No, they do. And I think, like, I mean, him in the past, 2 games since he's been fired as we're recording, he's got 4 goals and 1 assist already. So both games he's had 2 goals in it. And like you said, I think he's definitely flourishing. The part where you had said, though, about, I think it's tough because you do that forecheck, backcheck, paycheck type of hockey does work.
It does.
It wins Stanley Cups. The Florida Panthers play that way.
Yeah.
They're not flashy. They're flashy, but not like, they have their moments, but most of their players are all like grit.
Yeah.
I would say the Knights, the way they won that, they were not flashy by any means. Of course, you got players like Jack Eichel. Like you got
Jack
skill,
Eichel. You know, guys like that.
But you have to let those skill guys be skillful and do their job.
You can't limit them to third line minutes and, you know, the occasional power play and expect them to be the best player they can be.
Right.
Obviously, you always want your players to do every bit of the game.
Yes.
You don't just want like a Patrick Laine where he doesn't do anything 5v5. No offense, Patrick Laine, you're nasty.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything 5v5, but then you get him on a power play and he's going to score.
Yeah.
You want that all the time.
Yeah.
You want them to be able to grow and be that, like, you know, the best player they can be.
Yeah.
There's talks about Michkov being the next Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Like, you want him to be that type of player.
Yeah.
Making him play a two-way role or be defensively responsible or get your ice time cut is not the way to help that guy be the best player that he can be.
Yeah.
And I think their players or their coaches like Mike Babcock, Torts, just guys like that who don't get that through their head.
Yeah.
Where you can't, you know, force defensive hockey on a player who's not defensive.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, they'll learn or they can learn, but that's not necessarily how you manage your assets and your players.
Too. And they're, I mean, thinking about it, like they are young. Like it's his first year in the NHL.
Yeah.
Granted, he did play in the KHL. He played professionally hockey, but Russia, they play that game different over there. So it's different. But I mean,
he also averaged like 5 minutes of ice time in Russia.
Yeah,
like
true.
He didn't really play that much.
That is true.
He was a skill guy, played a lot of power play minutes. That's basically it.
Yeah, which I mean, I think it's incredibly tough too because again, we don't know how Michkov is as a person. We don't know, maybe Torts was right, maybe but I think a lot of times in the NHL and really any sports, the first person everyone points at is always the coach in any situation. I mean, Jim Montgomery getting fired from the Bruins.
That was ridiculous.
Like that. It's just like
he had like a 66% winning percentage. It was like the winning, the percentage-wise is like the winningest coach in Bruins history.
But then it's just like, okay, well, these guys need a shake-up. We can't really just get rid of players like willy-nilly. We can. They've done that. But at a certain extent, it's like everything falls on the coach at some point. And, it happens in all sports. I mean, I can think of plenty of other coaches in other sports that it happens to where they're like, they've just won a national title with your team.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, it's like, oh, we didn't have a great season, so you're done. You're fired.
It's one of those things. Torts is a fantastic NHL coach.
Yeah.
Right? You don't stick around the league for 20 years being a bad coach. If he were put on a team with a hard-nosed, like gritty roster like the Florida Panthers, I'm sure he would do just fine.
Yeah.
But on a younger, more talented, not quite as good roster,
rebuilding
it's
team.
just not a great coaching decision in the first place.
Yeah. Like imagine him coaching the Sharks. Like
it'd be stupid.
Yeah. He'd get mad at like the sleepover Toffoli had with all them.
Will Smith, get on the PK. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'd be throwing them out there for that.
When you pass the red line, I need you to dump it in every time.
Yeah. I know. It's stuff like that.
Doesn't work for some players.
No. Like, I mean, we see how Celebrini is coming, like, what's that stat I always talk about?
He's one of the best players with controlling the puck into the offensive zone in the NHL. Like, he's up there with McDavid and McKinnon. I think he was higher than McDavid for his controlled zone entries per 60 minutes. Some stupid analytic. But.
It's a crazy stat. But stuff like that, it does show, like, he's clearly not just dumping the puck in. They're trusting him with the puck.
Yeah.
And I think, if, like, that was a different situation and Torts was, maybe Michkov could be there. I don't think he would be, but he could be in that conversation if he wasn't playing. But, overall, I mean, I think Tortorella is just last of a dying breed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And, I think he's a great coach, has some funny quotes, but I just don't think that this style of coaching is going to last much longer.
No, I don't think so. You look at the best teams in the NHL, not a lot of them play like a Tort system is.
Yep.
And whether that's a good or bad thing for hockey, I don't know.
Yeah.
We've been talking about throughout the season, hockey's getting way more skilled.
Yes.
And it's the last few years it's a way more skilled game than it was when we were growing up.
Yeah. Even like Ryan Whitney on Chicklets, he was like, dude, I would not keep up today.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, unless the NHL has a stark turn and starts playing more defensive hockey, which I don't think it's going to do anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if Torts really has a position in the NHL with his style unless he adapts, which I think everything that we know about Torts from the outside, I don't think he's going to adapt.
No. And that's the thing too, like you kind of have to be adaptable. You have to, and maybe you don't, maybe you go to the teams that need you, that fit well.
Yeah.
But like you almost just kind of have to form, based on your roster, you have to form your game plan for what it is.
Yeah.
It's a middle of the road take, but like
coaches, you have to adapt to what your roster holds. We should get hired.
Yeah.
You and me. Coach the Sharks right now.
Yeah. Get us in there. No.
We'll lose 9-1 instead of 8-1.
Exactly.
Or 9-2.
9-2.
They might score a couple more goals if we're like, fuck it, just skate with the puck.
Yeah.
Just go.
Celebrini, you are, just take it.
Run and gun.
Yeah. Take it up. But I think overall Tortorella, I don't know that he gets hired again unless, I don't know if any open coaching spots. Maybe over the summer that could change, but I just don't see it happening.
What team needs him?
Panthers are the only one that comes to mind, but their coach is a rock star. So
they're not getting rid of Paul Maurice anytime soon.
Yeah. So, I don't think he gets hired.
I can't think of a single NHL team. Maybe the Dallas Stars?
Yeah.
Maybe. Not really, though.
No. Who do they have? Is that Pete?
I think Pete DeBoer is coaching them right now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, you need to fire him if you want to win a Stanley Cup.
Maybe the Kings.
Maybe.
The Kings have been doing well.
Yeah. The Kings. Who do they have? Oh, they have Todd McClellan, though.
Yeah, they have Todd.
Yeah.
Todd sucks.
Yeah.
Traitor.
He is a traitor. There's a lot of traitors. I mean, even Pete DeBoer went to the Knights after us.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Pete DeBoer.
When
that.
Really, when you think about it, these guys aren't not that they're not loyal, but they're a job.
I just hate that the NHL coaching room is just a revolving door.
Really is, yeah.
It's
yeah.
I really like when teams bring in new coaches who haven't coached in the NHL before. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think that's kind of why the NHL is like that, where it's just the same 15 guys cycling around the league.
Yeah.
Is just because, if you have a coach that has had, a great season, they go deep in the playoffs, that they can get them there with the right roster.
Yes.
But it's you need to give other guys opportunities at some point. It's just recycling old coaches over and over and over. It just doesn't work.
I think it's the risk factor. You can't be a team I don't know. You can't be a team like the Maple Leafs who need to win now and just take a chance on some guy.
Yeah.
And then if that falls through, then what? You're screwed.
The Flyers are in a perfect position to bring in a new guy from
well, that's what the Sharks did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He hasn't been fantastic, but
look at the roster.
Yeah, he's working with an AHL roster with some guys who should probably still be playing in college.
Yep.
But hopefully it works out. But it's they're in a perfect opportunity to bring in a guy that is not just a recycled coach. They could bring in a new guy who fits their roster, who they think fits the roster. Yeah. I hope that's something that we start to see more with these bad rebuilding teams rather than just getting a guy like John Tortorella or someone like that who isn't going to do anything for your team. I don't know. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see some new coaching styles and people enter the league.
Yeah, no, I would too. Speaking of new people, though, we have 2 new college players entering the pool. Obviously, after Boston College lost last night to Denver, Gabe Pereault and Ryan Leonard of Boston College both signed their entry-level contract. So, Gabe Pereault, he had 108 points at BC in 73 games. Ryan Leonard had 109 points at BC in, I think, a little bit more games. But both of these players are fantastic. I mean, since watching last year with Will Smith at BC, he was a line mate of theirs.
Yep. Long time line mate, too. They played together at the U.S. National Development Program. Yeah,
that too. And those guys, I'm really excited to see them play, especially just where these two are slotted in. You're going to be on... For Ryan Leonard, who, by the way, signed my Zincan in that video.
Heck yeah, Ryan Leonard.
Yeah.
That guy's a beauty.
Yeah. If you don't follow my TikTok at Sean Deauville, it's in our link tree, but there's a video of him at the draft where he signed my Zincan. And ever since then, it kind of not put a spot. I was like, oh, I got to follow this guy now.
I hope he has a great NHL.
Yeah.
He plays some great Torts hockey.
He does.
I bet you John Tortorella would love that guy.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
And he's so funny.
He is. And he's just that, I'm excited to watch him, especially on the Capitals. A team that's obviously in the playoffs. He's going to join Ovi's chase for the goal chase or the goal record. I'm so excited. And even Gabe Pereault, too.
Yeah.
He's a great player, fantastic player, and he's going to be on now the Rangers, who are desperately trying to get in the playoffs.
I don't know where he slides into that roster.
I don't either.
You could probably play him pretty high up.
Yeah.
But do you want to play him too high up and then ruin your chances of they're still in the playoff hunt?
I think you put him third line, see what he does.
Yeah.
Move him up.
Give him some power play action.
Yeah, if need be, power play too.
Yeah.
Nothing. And same with Leonard. How do you fit in that roster?
I think he slots in perfectly on a line with Tom Wilson, and they just fuck shit up. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a great team pairing. They play both of those guys play really funnily.
Yes.
Like it's just funny and fun to watch.
Yeah.
I would love to watch those guys banging heads on the same line.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
Tom Wilson and Ryan Leonard. All right, well, we'll see.
Don't care who centers them.
Yeah, yeah. They play. I think Ryan Leonard's going to make his debut tomorrow against the Bruins.
Yep.
Which is cool too because he's in Boston.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think those two players are just going to be Leonard in specific. Like, I mean, I think the Rangers really got a steal with Pereault at 23.
Absolutely.
Like, he dropped so far.
He's extremely talented of a hockey player.
Yeah.
You watch him play, and he makes plays with the puck that are like, how did you even see that?
Yeah.
Like, we've been watching it for the last 2 years of BC. I've watched a lot of BC hockey the last couple of years.
Yeah, same.
Obviously, with Will Smith, there was a lot to watch for us.
Yep.
He makes some plays with the puck that you're like, how did you even notice that was available?
Yeah.
And it goes in the net 90% of the time, whether it's Ryan Leonard scoring it or somebody else.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to play each other a lot too, which is interesting.
Yeah, they will.
But yeah, it'll be cool to see. We need more U.S. prospects like that are top notch.
Yeah.
For obviously what happened with our my unfortunate take with the Four Nations tournament.
We've got Zeev Bouillon too.
Zeev Bouillon too.
He's a rock star.
He's battling again for another championship too.
Yep.
Which is crazy. That guy's nasty.
I know. Kind of wish the Sharks picked him, but I'm happy with Sam Dickinson.
Sam Dickinson, he did just set the all-time London Knights scoring record as a defenseman, which is I'm
impressive.
Happy with Sam Dickinson.
Me too.
I think he's a better all-around player than
bigger guy too.
Yeah,
bigger defenseman, which we need.
Yeah.
We
We need some size, not skill.
Yeah,
but he's also very skilled. So
yeah,
I don't mind it.
Yep. Yeah, so new faces coming to the league soon. I'm sure Bouillon's going to join the Wild as well.
Absolutely.
I think the Wild are. We'll check later at the playoff ranking, but I think the Wild are in a playoff spot right now.
They are. They're in either second or third in the Metro, or in the Metro.
Central?
In the Central. I always forget the Central Division's name. I don't know why. I've done that twice now where I've called the Central the Metro.
It's like the easiest one.
I know. That's funny.
What's the division?
Sorry about that.
The one in the center of the U.S. What's the division with the teams all in the center of the U.S.?
Whatever.
But yeah, and it hit. You talked about it last. I feel like 3 episodes we've talked about Sid breaking this record, but he broke the record for most consecutive point per game seasons with 20 seasons. Gretzky with 19. And
that is why he's on my Mount Rushmore, everybody.
Yeah.
That is why Sid is on my Mount Rushmore. He's been one of the best players in the league since he's been in the league.
Yes.
And if not the best player in the league. He was the best player in the league for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like,
I think too, like a lot of people hate on Crosby because, and I've been not victim. I've been a victim of hating. Yes, I've been a perpetrator of hating Sidney Crosby, especially as a younger player and like seeing him beat my Sharks Stanley Cup final, like stuff like that. Like it's just, you always hate on greatness.
hard to love him.
Yeah, exactly. But now, like where I'm at an age a little bit older, and he's older in his career, and like looking back at what he's done, like I truly think he is on that Mount Rushmore.
That guy's been making insane plays and putting up a whole lot of points against everybody's favorite team for the last 20 years.
He's a 200-foot player. He's like not the first 200-foot player, but he's like of our generation the greatest 200-foot player.
He's you could put him on the. I don't think he was ever really consistently on a penalty kill, but you could absolutely put him on a penalty kill.
Yeah,
whenever he's on the ice, you notice him. Mm-hmm. That's like one of the biggest things with Sidney Crosby is the eye test. That guy, you watch him play, even in today's game, which is a whole lot faster, a whole lot more skilled. You watch him play, and you're like, oh, there's Sid.
Yep.
You notice him even when he doesn't have the puck. He's somewhere that you're like, well, he's gonna score.
Yeah.
Or
Do you know where he ranks all time in points?
He's like 6th or 7th. He's up there.
Yeah.
I need to check.
And
he's
honestly,
got 1,600 points. I think Joe Thornton's somewhere in the 1,600s, and he's at 7th.
Okay.
So he's got to be up there.
Yeah. And Frank, like we've talked about this before, but like his career was not riddled. Like it was kind of ruined by a lot of concussions he suffered as a younger player. He missed a lot of time. He's had the lockout. 9th all time?
Yeah, Joe Thornton's 14th. I was way off. I think he's 7th in assists.
Still.
Yeah.
Top 10 in points. And again, like a lot of his seasons, if you probably break it down by season, he's still point per game, obviously, but
well over. There are some years he had a concussion that he got against the Islanders. I want to say, I'm looking at his stats right now. It was 2011, 2012. He had 37 points in 22 games played that season, which is just nuts. He was kept out for 60 games with a concussion.
Yeah.
The season prior, I think he had a different concussion, and through 41 games, he had 66 points.
Yeah.
And then the season directly after that season, through 36 games, he had 56 points. Yeah. He's like at 1.5 to 2 points per game. That was in 2011, 2012, around that time when the game was a lot more low scoring.
Yeah. That too.
Joe Thornton was the highest scoring player of that era, and he put up 128 points in a single season.
Yeah, that was like his best.
Yeah.
And that was like not an outlier, but that was like the only time.
It was one of 2 seasons where he was really like the best player in the world, or one of.
Yeah. No, totally.
And for him to do that 3 years in a row where he's at, 1.5 to 2 points a game, that's nuts. That era. If you see Connor McDavid doing that nowadays, you're like, well, yeah, that's just Connor McDavid. You see Nathan McKinnon doing it. He put up 140 points last year.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of to be expected.
Yeah.
But that at that point in time was like, what on earth are you doing? That's insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find that pretty interesting. I feel like this record, it's a Gretzky record, by the way, that he broke.
Yeah.
19 consecutive point per game seasons. He's got 100 less games played than Wayne. He would probably have 1,800 points.
Yeah.
If he were that high up in games played.
And didn't get injured. Like, think about the prime years that we missed of him because of concussions. And I think, not that...
It's like 27. 26, 27, 28. Like, that's
and it's
your
not
prime.
that... I don't think he, made all these concussion protocol things happen. Obviously, like, medicine got better. They learned about CTE, all that stuff. But... he was definitely a big reason into. They're like, we probably got to protect these guys a little more.
Yeah, imagine if Connor McDavid missed the season where he had 156 points, right? He had like 50 points in the first 25 games of the season.
That could have been Sid's year. Yeah. Like when he got hurt, that could have been the year he had. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know. I think that it's kind of interesting. So, 2 of the greatest players in NHL history, Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux, both Penguins, and they're both kind of what-ifs.
Yeah.
Because Mario Lemieux missed half his career with cancer and with other injuries. He could have easily broken Gretzky records left and right. It could have been like, Gretzky had 33 of the 65 that he now has.
Yeah.
And Lemieux had the other 22 or 32.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like it sucks. I don't feel bad for you Penguins fans because you have 5 Stanley Cups since 1992.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
Especially for beating the Sharks one of those years. But I would be very interested to see how much higher up the list Sid would be if he didn't have that massive stretch that he missed with concussion protocol.
Yeah.
I'm honestly glad that it did happen because I think that was a huge reason that the NHL started bringing in more concussion protocol and
safety in general.
Player safety, helmets, growing in technology. I remember a bunch of guys used to wear those Bauer 4500s.
Dude, people still wear those.
Yeah, that scares the crap out of me. Now you have the CCM helmets with like the webbing that's like, if you get hit in the head, it'll move, but your head won't.
Dude,
it's crazy.
It looks like something Spider-Man would make for the inside or something. Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing that developed that far. No. And I think that's a good thing. Unfortunately, Sid had to be the one to pay the price. But it's just, it's insane. He would have had, those are 3 seasons where he probably would have won Art Ross, the Hart that he missed out on.
Yeah.
Because he got injured, 22, 36, 41 games. Mm-hmm. That's just tough.
Yeah. I agree. And I think like, people leave Sidney Crosby off a lot of lists nowadays just because of, like, he's still playing. Yeah. So it's like, no, like, he's not, he doesn't belong on the Mount Rushmore because of this and that. And I think it's, just because he's playing and people probably still have the hate in their heart. Whereas, like, you look at, anyone else that people have mentioned, like Bobby Orr or anyone like that. People probably hated him back then, and because he was so good. It's
also one of those things, I think as a fan around the league, it's kind of hard to hate a player, or it's kind of hard to like a player who, A, has consistently been scoring on your team every single game he plays.
Knocks your team out of the playoffs.
B, knocks your team out of the playoffs every year if you're in the East. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of vibe around Alex Ovechkin because they've only gone deep in the playoffs one time.
Yeah.
Really one time. They've made it past the second round.
Yeah.
And he won his cup. That was great. He beat the Knights, which everybody hated.
Yep.
And yes, he scores a whole lot, but he's also kind of a different personality, and he hasn't won, it seems like, every goddamn year of his career.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sid, it's like, yes, he's doing all the scoring. He's not quite as likable of a person, it seems. I'm sure he's a great dude, but like he's not as outgoing.
I think if you're Canadian, you love the guy. I think
absolutely
everywhere, like outside of that, I don't think people probably feel the same.
Yeah. But it's like, it's hard to have that widespread love when you've been so good over your entire career and you consistently he's probably beaten every single team in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs at some point.
Yeah.
I would love to see the fact check on that, but I could guarantee he's probably beat at least 12 of the 16 teams that are currently in the East.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty interesting.
Like
some
in
of them
playoffs,
a lot.
You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like he's not single-handedly, obviously, but the Penguins have probably eliminated, most of those teams.
They've gone deep. He's
got 3
been
cups.
to 4 cup finals, has 3 cups.
Yeah.
I think he has 2 Hart trophies, or 2 more. 2 Conn Smythe trophies.
Yeah.
I don't think he won it in 09. I'd have to look back.
Well, like you were saying hating Crosby because he's won so much. I don't like, not that I don't love Connor McDavid after 4 Nations.
Yeah. That's hard.
But like,
it's hard to love him.
Yeah. But like as an American, it's tough. But I think also like with him, you kind of see what he does and you're like, wow, this guy's super good at hockey. He's like helping our sport grow like crazy.
Yeah.
Even though I do think Nathan McKinnon's better than him, but, I don't hate the guy as much because he hasn't really done much.
Well, here's the other thing. Yeah, exactly.
In the playoffs, he's done plenty of.
They've gone deep once.
Yeah, that was last year.
Unless you're a Kings fan, why do you hate the guy? Or like a Calgary fan, I can see that.
Yep.
Because they played a couple times in the playoffs, and I think they beat them both times.
And it's just a rivalry. Yeah.
Those are the only teams. I think it was 2017. The Oilers beat the Sharks in the playoffs. McDavid.
Yeah.
Lit him up. I think it was 2017. It's like, at the end of the day, it's long and go enough. I guess the Sharks haven't been competitive, but like there are other teams that have never lost to the Oilers, never had to play the Oilers. Why would you hate them?
Yeah.
As far as media attention goes, I feel like they don't get a whole lot of media attention for a team in Canada and a good team in Canada.
Yeah, it's the West Coast thing.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I hate the Montreal Canadiens way more than I hate the Edmonton Oilers.
Really?
And they've never lost. They've never beaten the Sharks in the playoffs. I don't know why.
No.
It's just because everyone, Nick Suzuki's the greatest player in the NHL.
Yeah.
Cole Caulfield, 50-goal scorer. He hasn't even scored 40 yet.
Hey, I love Cole Caulfield.
I do too, because he's American.
Yeah.
But still, their fans are annoying.
Yeah.
I don't really get that from Edmonton fans, and I think that does put a whole lot of emphasis into players and everyone around the league liking those players. So it's just interesting. And also a lot of what Connor McDavid's done in his career is just like so astonishing that it's like, how do you hate that guy?
Yeah.
Every single team has gotten torched by McDavid for 5 points.
Yeah. I think, like I'm trying to remove that from my, just like as we've been doing this podcast, like just trying to be less of a hater because I'm a pretty big hater.
I'm a big hater.
Oh, I know.
I'm a big hater.
I know. I think everyone listening knows.
Igor Shesterkin, you fucking suck. Yes, I know the Rangers beat us 6-1 a few nights ago. But whatever.
It's fine.
Whatever.
I think Jonathan Quick played that game. Did he? I
hate him even more. No, I actually really like Jonathan Quick.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's one of those players where I've really grown to appreciate him. I hated Jonathan Quick growing up. He was one of my least favorite players in the NHL because he's always stonewalled the Sharks.
The Kings,
He'd just shit on the Sharks. But now in my older age, I'm like, wow, I kind of miss when he'd, make those insane split saves where it's like, why are you in the splits? You could be doing a normal butterfly.
Yeah.
But then he just makes some insane glove save or like, slide across in full splits, kick a pad out. And it's like, how is this not a goal?
I know.
I miss that Jonathan Quick.
I do too. Yeah.
I miss hating him. I miss being a hater of Jonathan Quick. That's what I miss.
Yeah. I agree.
It's funny.
Yeah. As I'm getting older, I'm trying to also just appreciate the players just in general, overall, and just who they are, except for Mark Stone.
Yeah,
but
no, that guy.
But yeah, I mean,
I'd put stickers on.
Team aside,
that's funny. Speaking of the Knights, they're in first place in the Pacific. God damn it,
they are
again.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious. I've said this for a while that I don't feel like the Knights are gonna stay relevant for much longer.
No.
And I still do believe that because they don't have a single draft pick from when they started, except for what's his name?
Guy got drafted last year. I forget his name.
I forget his name too. But I mean, unless they're just going to keep retooling and getting these players, I think free agency they have a leg up a little bit with the no income tax, which I'm curious. Do you think there should be something in play that kind of limits that advantage?
Yes, absolutely. And I know that's not the case in any other sports, but I think there should be some sort of adjusted cap where as long as players are actually claiming residency where they live, which I think they have to because they live there for more than...
And are getting paid.
At least in the United States, if you live somewhere in over 130, 140 days a year, you can claim that as residency. If you live there over a certain amount of days, you have to. Yeah.
Well, I think if you're getting paid by a team from that state,
no, because you can work. There are people who work in Ontario, Oregon, who get taxed or they get taxed in their home state. I know that from work.
Okay.
You get taxed in the state that you live in. Not
got it.
That.
Okay.
I think you might have to pay some sort of tax.
Yeah.
On income from the state that you work in, but I don't know. Either way.
Sorry for boring you guys with tax code.
We need to look into the tax code to solidify. This is off the head. This is not like a pre-discussed thing.
Yeah. No, it just came to as a question that came to my head. But yes, I think there should be something in place that kind of limits that advantage of being because you can't do anything about it.
An edited. I think there should be like a tax responsive cap.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're a team in California, right, you really have to be smart with your assets.
Yeah.
Because, if you're getting paid, if you offer a player $7 million in California versus in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
That's two different.
They're taking home
paychecks.
Way more money if they live in Florida. They're taking home maybe $3.25 million living in California. They're taking home like $6 million living living in Florida. That doesn't seem fair, and it doesn't seem equal. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I love the Panthers. The Panthers are one of the most fun teams in the NHL to watch, whether you hate them or you love them. They're entertaining hockey, right? Tampa's kind of the same way, and we've seen 5 Florida teams in the Stanley Cup final the last 5 years.
True. And the Knights won.
The Knights?
And that's another tax-free or no income tax state.
I think Texas is too, correct?
Yep.
And they keep going deep year after year.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I would love to see something like that come into effect. Maybe this is just because I'm coming as a Sharks fan.
Yeah, no, me too.
We have a bad tax bracket.
Why. Yep.
But it does absolutely affect. We wouldn't see 5 Florida teams make the Cup final year in, year out.
Yeah.
And another team with zero income tax, the Knights, win the Cup.
Or Canadian teams.
Yeah.
It's tough when you get into a whole nother, it's a whole nother type of currency.
I think there's a reason that we haven't seen a Canadian team win a cup in 30-something years. And, they are making Canadian players living in Canada or players living in Canada are making a lot less than a player living in Florida.
Yeah.
Across the board. It doesn't matter what province you're in.
So William Nylander gets paid $11.5 a year. Matthew Tkachuk makes $8 million a year, and they both have the same take home.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why Toronto's sucked over the last few years. They have to play. They have to pay these players these big salaries.
True.
To
be worth anything.
Austin Matthews makes, what is his deals like 15 million, something like that, 16 million.
I thought it was like 13 or 14.
It is 13 or 14. Either way, he's taking home less than guys who are making 9 in the U.S.
Yeah.
It does kind of ruin a team's out. They're going to have to get rid of Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
When any other NHL team, that's an $11 million player and a $9 million player.
Yeah.
That you can pay them that instead of having $25,000 or $25 million wrapped up in a single season.
Yeah.
You have 20. That's $5 million worth of players. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things. I don't think it makes the league fair. The league's never going to be fair.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how professional sports are.
Yep.
If we didn't have a salary cap, bigger markets would have better teams baseball. Like the Yankees.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers are good year in, year out. The Mariners suck.
Yep.
The A's suck.
Yeah. It's all about that payroll in MLB. But yeah, like I'm glad, we have a salary cap. But I just think there's something that could be done. I don't know what could be done, but
it'd have to be a team per team basis where they get some sort of cap benefit because they have worse laws. It's not the team's fault that their state income tax laws suck.
That too.
Right? It's not the Sharks' fault that California state income tax is super high.
Yeah.
It's not the Kings' fault. It's not the Ducks' fault.
Yeah.
You live in Minnesota. Actually, I don't know what Minnesota state income tax is.
Yeah.
New York Rangers, New York Islanders, same thing.
Yeah.
It just sucks. And it sucks seeing the same teams be bad year in, year out. You think about a team like Buffalo, right? They would have to seriously overpay on a player to bring them in on free agency.
Yes.
Because you're in a shit market and you don't make any money there.
Yeah.
You sign an $8 million contract, you're probably taking home $3.75 million, and you have to live in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Which, no offense to Buffalo, but nobody wants to fucking live there.
Yeah. And at least I think the teams like San Jose, Anaheim, LA, you're living in 70-degree weather year round.
You have the benefit of the beach.
Yeah. You have all that. New York, you're living in New York City.
Yeah.
You have a big city you're in, a big market.
About Ottawa.
Same with Toronto. Yeah, Ottawa.
Ottawa, they're screwed for free agency.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to go to Ottawa?
Yeah.
And then you mix in Ontario tax.
Yep.
Is it Ontario or Quebec? It's Ontario.
It's Ontario.
Yeah. Ontario tax. And it's how are they going to draw in a player? At least Toronto, right? They have the fact that they're the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
Ottawa doesn't have a fan base. Not a big one. Not like the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
It just makes it harder for these teams to bring in free agents and keep the league parity.
Yeah.
As good as it is or has been, from 2010 to 2020.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see if there's some sort of fix that the NHL can go about to make it a little bit more even. I keep getting phone calls.
Your Bettman figured out.
Blown up. Yeah, seriously.
You probably won't figure it out. We'll boo you at the draft every year. But
I love it.
I don't blame him though. I mean, it's one of those things where there's so much legal stuff in it. The only thing that comes to my head would be an adjusted salary cap for each state, depending on how much. But then it just turns into more unfairness because then it's okay, well, no matter what, even if you're Austin Matthews playing in Toronto or you're Austin Matthews playing in Florida, you're still going to make $14 million. Your contract is still going to be $14 million.
Yeah.
How much you take home definitely weighs into the factor. Yeah, I mean, I think at the same time too, though, you are making millions of dollars, more than most people in almost all citizens of San Jose. I guarantee you, who's the highest paid? Mark-Edward Vlasic is making more than probably 99% of. Even in the high tech,
probably more than even that. He's the top 0.001%.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But aside from all the CEOs in Silicon Valley, he's probably making.
At the same time, we're getting very taxy on this.
I know.
Right? Might be a little political. I don't know. It depends on how people take it. But nobody wants to get taxed $4 million. Nobody wants to get taxed 50% of their salary, right? And if I could go to Florida and make way more, or go to New York and make way less.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how long I'm going to be playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
You could have a career-ending injury tomorrow.
Yep.
And the money that you made is the money that you made.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you follow the money? Unless you're a hometown kid, got picked up. Nobody wanted to draft you. You got picked up out of free agency playing college, like Colin Graff, that kind of player. I could see why somebody like that would want to stick around. But at the same time, like, you just never know what's going to happen with your career.
Yeah, that's
why when you could, if I'm Austin Matthews and I need to sign a $13 million contract to make, $8 million, $7 million, why wouldn't I just go sign in Florida where I could sign an $8 million contract and make $8 million?
Yeah. And help the team make team-friendly deals, stuff like that. Where
have a better team.
Yeah.
Consistently better winning or more winning, right? Like, why wouldn't
more
you go
playoff success?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you go sign in Florida right now?
Yeah, true.
There's zero reason not to if they have the cap space.
That's probably why Marchand wanted to go.
Exactly. It's one of those things. That team has everything. I think if we really want like true league parity, you got to make it at least a little bit more fair for a team like Buffalo or Ottawa or Edmonton, even though they're a good team. Like, they're screwed with the cap, and it seems like year in year out they're losing because they have a soft roster below Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Well, Matthew Tkachuk is making $8 million a year. Yeah, that is not an $8 million player.
No,
but he can take it. That maybe just be him trying to be team friendly, which I think more players should kind of be. I'm all about people making their bag. They've worked all their life to get to this point. Yeah. Again, generational.
Worked way harder than I did.
Yeah, exactly. They can make generational wealth, and their kids will never have to suffer ever again, and their grandkids and their grandkids' kids. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I don't really know what to do about the tax code, and I don't
think anything's going to be addressed by this, but we're going to keep seeing Florida and Tampa in the Cup final because it's just how it works, right? You're going to see teams like Dallas, Vegas, Florida, Tampa, and teams like Ottawa and Buffalo are going to stay at the bottom because they can't attract players. Yeah. And even if you get drafted by Buffalo, like, why would you want to stick around there if you make less money and you're in a bad area or a less desirable market?
Yeah. I agree. It's like Phoenix.
Nobody.
Arizona's a cool place to live, but all that stuff. All right, well, let's get into the the playoff race as of right now. So
this is going to be a reaction video or reaction section because my phone is at 1%.
Okay.
And it's going to die if I look through that.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'll read it off. Okay.
Here you go. Ooh. Ah.
So, right,
ooh.
As of right now in the Atlantics, nothing's really changed other than the Panthers kind of falling a little bit behind the light. And actually, wow. Okay, so 94 for the Leafs, 94 points, 91 for the Lightning and the Panthers. Mm-hmm. So that, nothing's really locked in there. Obviously, the Sharks kind of spoiled their chances of getting far ahead. Yeah. But again, there's still 9 games left for most of these teams, so still plenty of time left. Capitals locked it down pretty much. They're at 103 points. Second is the Hurricanes with 94. Devils are at 85 for the Metro. Ottawa and Montreal right now are the wild card. Mm-hmm. Actually, let me backtrack. In the Metro, third is the Devils with 85 points. The next Metro team on here is the Rangers, and there was 77 points. So it seems like the Metro's pretty locked up, assuming nothing crazy happens. That wild card spot, though, the Senators do have a pretty big lead there. They just have to at least win half of their games, and they're fine, which I think is doable. Right now, they're 6-3-1 the last 10, so not bad. The Canadians have slowed down a little bit, though.
Good.
Yeah. They're at 77 points. Rangers also are at 77 points, but the tiebreaker looks like win percentage or overtime losses. But anyways, Montreal's in the spot right now. But again, there's 9 games left for them, 8 games left for the Rangers, so that really can go anywhere there. Going down a little bit further in the wild card, you got the Blue Jackets with 75, Red Wings 74, Islanders 74, Pittsburgh 71, who I think we're going to make a call here that they're cut off. Yeah. Same with the Bruins as well. And obviously Flyers and Buffalo at the bottom. For this, I think if you look at it, though, you got the Rangers, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, and Islanders all still within 2-3 points of each other. So again, any of those teams can make it if they go on a hot streak at the end of the season.
I really hope it's the Blue Jackets.
Honestly, yeah.
I would love to see the Blue Jackets in the playoffs again.
Johnny Hockey
and
everything, this would be a great year for them to
they're another example, right? I don't know what Ohio's tax code looks like, but you got to give them some tax breaks, or not some tax breaks, but some salary breaks if you're going to attract players to Columbus, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's tough because I don't want to get into it.
They've had one free agent signing over the last few years, and it was Johnny Hockey. Yeah. They've had a ton of players leave.
Yep.
And it's like maybe that's down to management. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe the team sucks to play for.
Yeah.
But like, to make it fair to them, you kind of got to give the players some reason to sign there.
Yeah,
so.
I know, and it's tough too because it's like, what can you do? I'm trying to think of like a successful team that's just not in a good market lately, within like around what they have available.
It's really just Canadian teams.
Yeah, but like with them, you at least have majority Canadian players, so they're
you guys
playing
want to play in Canada.
Yeah, they're playing in their country. But, like, I'm trying to think of a team, like, okay, Sabres, really nothing around there. San Jose, it's nice. Chicago, it's Chicago. Nashville, it's Nashville.
Yeah.
Never been to Seattle. I don't know how that place is like, but from what I've heard, it's not the greatest.
Yeah.
And again, they're a new team, so I'm not going to say anything about them. But, I mean, I've been to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City's cool for, like, skiing and stuff, but I doubt any of these players could even go skiing with their contracts.
Probably not.
Like, don't allow them because it's, also in the height of winter when it plays. So,
highly doubt it.
Yeah. Can't even enjoy that. But, yeah. Anyways, we'll get back to the wild card. Enough about the tax code.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so wild card there, I think just really if you want anything to watch for the next week or two left of the hockey season, is any of those four teams right there. The Canadians, Rangers, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, maybe the Islanders. You might fall asleep, but any of those teams, those games this week are going to be they're in playoff hockey mode right now, which is why usually some of these teams always kind of have some success in the playoffs because they have been. I mean, honestly, Ottawa, I want to pump their tires a little bit because from where they were last year to where they are now, that is a team that I'm kind of interested to see who they'd play first. But if they get a good matchup, I think they can win that series.
Yep.
It really just depends. As of right now, the playoff picture would be them playing the Maple Leafs, which of all teams to play first round, the Maple Leafs are a very attractive first-round team to play against.
An extremely attractive first-round team to play against. That'd be so funny.
They're like the Sidney Sweeneys of playoff teams to play in the first round.
I will say Mitch Marner, expiring contract.
What do you think?
He might go off in the playoffs.
True.
I could see him as one of those guys who absolutely goes off, just balls out, gets a huge contract.
Yeah.
And then coasts the rest of his career. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know if he even is he's not. I don't think he's going to stay with the Maple Leafs.
No, hell no.
Yeah, I really hope he does not come to the Sharks. I've seen a lot of speculation on Sharks Twitter.
Yeah,
about him potentially playing. I'm going to pass, not because I don't like him, but because I just don't think we need him.
There's so many guys coming through the pipeline where it's like, I'm already looking at a roster, and it's like if every single one of these guys pans out.
Yeah,
we're going to have either some serious cap hell issues in a few years. We're just not going to be able to keep everybody.
Yeah.
There's not enough spots for everybody to flourish.
Nope.
So if you push, are you going to push Will Smith off top power play in a few years? No.
I hope not.
Hell no.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, you've got Celebrini who's panning out well, Smith who's panning out well.
Yeah.
We're going to have a top 3 pick this year in the draft. There's no point in signing Mitch Marner, who's 27, 28 years old, 26. It doesn't fit the timeline. Yeah.
He's drafted 2015, so he's 27, 28.
Yeah. So he's just not.
Yeah.
And he's a smaller skill guy. We don't need that.
We need a defenseman.
That too. But even then, I don't really want to pay a dude who's in his prime $8 million.
Yeah.
And have another Vlasic.
Have another Marquette Bar Vlasic.
Yeah.
Brett Burns, who, they're good for a few seasons. And then you can't get rid of their contracts.
Exactly. And I think
6 years.
Maybe if the Sharks are gonna spend money in the offseason, I think that a defenseman's the only way to go.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 years max. Nothing long term. But anyways, back to the wild card. We keep going off on Sharks. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're just fans of the Sharks. All right. So then in the Western side, the Central is pretty locked up, I'd say. You got Winnipeg at 106, Dallas at 100, Avalanche with 93. In the Pacific, the Knights are in lead by 7 with 98 points, Kings 91, Oilers 89. So they're going to be battling for the home, home ice advantage, really there. For the wild card, though, I think this is where we might have our first lock out. You got the Wild and the Blues with 87, and the Canucks outside of the wild card spot, and the Flames. Canucks have 81, Flames have 80. Yeah. So they're about 5 points behind. With 8 games left, anything could happen, but
that'd be a huge. Yeah. Either the Blues or the Wild have to go on an absolute skid.
Yeah, and the Blues right now are 9-1-0.
Yeah. They've been on a heater.
Yeah, recently. The Wild they're 5-4-1, but still
they'd have to go 0-8-0 for and one of those teams would have to win out.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much locked up.
Yeah,
the playoff picture is just what position, who you play.
Yep, who you play. So we shall see in future. Let's see. We got. I mean, realistically, this season ends. This episode's dropping April 2nd, so. We got playoff hockey coming right around the corner, and I cannot be more excited. Even just watching, I know that Sharks-Toronto Maple Leafs game.
That was awesome.
Oh, such a fun game. And obviously the Sharks aren't going to make the playoffs. But I'm just excited to watch, high-intensity hockey.
Yeah.
We got that a little bit with the Four Nations, but I think the season ends, April 16th-ish. So the next after this episode, next 2 episodes... We'll be kind of wrapping up the season, and then we're in playoff mode, baby.
Let's go.
And I'm so excited. I can't wait. But that pretty much wraps it up for today's episode. We, as you're listening to this, we don't know what's going to happen, but we play our Beer League Championship Tuesday. You know what I should do? So they're live streaming the game.
Blast it on the good old hockey podcast.
Putting it on the socials to watch our game.
That could backfire horrendously. We get lit up 10-0. Fucking
you know what?
Awful.
If we win, go to our Instagram right now. If you're not following us, check the story.
Yeah.
If there's a picture with us with the trophy, we won. If there's nothing on there, it's just radio silence, we're depressed.
Yep.
That's all it is. So... But
We're drinking heavily either way, but one's in a happy way, one's in a sad way.
Correct. Yeah, super excited. But thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Go on Instagram, follow us there so you can get all the updates from us. For playoffs, we'll probably be doing some reaction videos after big games, stuff like that. Comment section is always fun on that, so be sure you're tuned in on that. But other than that, everyone, have a great week. Go watch some hockey. Watch those wild card teams that are trying to fight for a position right now, because those games are always going to be electric.
Yep.
But anything else?
I don't got anything.
All right. Well, let's go win our game tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Go Grizzlies.
Yeah.